So welcome guys to today's webinar, and today we are going to talk about this concept called deep marketing framework. So what is deep marketing framework and who is it for? The deep marketing framework is basically something that I have developed with my marketing experience. Obviously, I have taken inspiration from a lot of other marketing frameworks and a lot of things that I have learned myself from other sources. So I was not born with the knowledge of deep marketing framework. In fact, nobody is born with knowledge. We are always learn from other sources, but we also end up adding our own mix to it, make it unique because we are adding our experience to it. It is not just for the sake of going ahead and trying to add some mix to it. It is because we are going ahead and adding our experience to it so that it becomes something that you can use in your practical life. So everybody has their own methodology, teaching methodology and systems, and this is my system. So if you feel relatable to this particular framework, then you can use this framework to apply things in your business. So I'm going to teach you using a mind map, and this is a concept that you might have heard before, but when I go ahead and teach a concept again, it also helps me kind of refresh the concepts myself a little bit, and it kind of gives some new information for you. And you also need to keep refreshing this concept over and over again, right? Because this is like the foundational framework for anything that you do in marketing. So let's go ahead and have a look at the deep marketing framework. So when I started the deep marketing framework, there were only four elements to it, which is CATT: content, attention, trust, and transaction. But then I added a few more elements to it. So I can put it as a formula, and I will put the formula here. So I would put it as NCATT plus OST equal to R, right? So what is NCATT plus OST equal to R and how does it function? We will break it down step by step. So N stands for niche. And why niche? Why niche selection is important? So if you are entering a very, very competitive market, then you are not going to be able to survive in the market. Like, do you think it is possible or practical for you to go ahead and start a search engine right now? Probably not, because Google is already the market leader in search engine. They have a lot of resources and we might not be able to compete with them starting now. We might have to have started by 1995, right? When the entire internet revolution was just opening up. So we have to select a niche where we have a decent chance of competing and also making our presence in the market. So deciding where to compete is half your success. So this is something you can note down. So deciding where to compete equal to half your success. And when you are selecting a niche, you also have to think about this whole concept of market leadership or category leadership. You cannot become everything to everyone. Like, okay, you want to build a company, you cannot become the number one company in everything, right? You have to be a category leader in one particular thing. So when you think about, let's say, Amazon and Flipkart, these are very broad categories, right? They list anything and everything inside their system or inside their e-commerce platform. So in a particular niche, there can be a leader and there will be one substitute, let's say, one second person. So in some markets, like let's say search engines itself, Google is the leader, but you also have Bing. Bing does not have a very large market share, but they still have significant market share that you can run ads on Bing, you can get some traffic, and it's still functioning. When you look at, let's say, Amazon and Flipkart, if you don't find a product on Amazon, you might go to Flipkart. So in every category, you will only see two people, right? One major player and one secondary player. We can say Coca-Cola, and then you have Pepsi. These are the major players. Yes, you have Thumbs Up, Mountain Dew, and a lot of things, but Coca-Cola and Pepsi are the major. You have Ola and you have Uber in India. You have Amazon and then you have Flipkart. you have iOS, and then you have Android, right? So I can keep going on examples more and more like that. You can also, think about examples. If you come up with some examples, you can put it in the chat box. Like for example, airline manufacturers. You have Airbus, and then you have Boeing, right? So why there are only two players in each and every market? There are only two players because it's a battle not for market share, but it's a battle for mind share. How much mind share you can occupy in a particular market category is what defines how many people can be there in a particular market. So people generally remember the number one, number two, they might not remember. So that is why you see Snapdeal was the third player in Amazon and Flipkart, and nobody uses Snapdeal anymore. You have Ola and Uber, and we had something called Taxi for Sure, which got acquired by Ola. And we have Windows Phone, iOS, Android, and Windows Phone. And then it's just iOS and Android. So third player is usually forgotten because people cannot remember three things in their mind. People are comfortable remembering two things. So if you look at digital marketer in India, who is coming to mind? Hopefully Digital Deepak, because you guys are here. So I would assume that Digital Deepak is what comes to mind when you think about digital marketing in India. So I'm not trying to become the digital marketer or the number one digital marketer in the world. I'm trying to become the number one digital marketer in India. So I'm choosing a category within which I can be a leader. So I can give you another example for thinking about niche and category leadership. When I ask people generally who is the first Prime Minister of India, people immediately say the answer because it's easy to remember the first. Second Prime Minister of India, some people know, some people don't know. Third Prime Minister of India, most of the people don't know. But if I ask who is the first woman Prime Minister of India, most of the people immediately say the answer. Why? Because even though she is the third Prime Minister, she is the first Prime Minister in the category of women. So that sticks in the mind. So if somebody wants to compete with me, rather than trying to become a digital marketer in India, they can go ahead and become something like the SEO expert in India or the e-commerce SEO expert in India. So you have to divide into like categories and try to dominate a particular subcategory, then you will be remembered very well. Like you can become the leading copywriter of India, right? So this involves company brands and personal brands both. So that is why selecting your niche is so very important, and selecting the right niche is like a force multiplier on this entire formula. So I will just put like a power symbol because it's a power law. So whatever you do, if you are doing it in the wrong niche with the wrong category, then you might not be able to get traction. So that is what N means. So that is the first part of the deep marketing framework. Once you have selected your niche, the second part of it is content. And when you think about content, we keep talking about content marketing. We do content marketing on social media and so many other places. We do content marketing, we do blogging, we do YouTube. But try to think a little bit more basics or the history of content itself, right? So initially, when humans started living on planet Earth, probably humans communicated with sign language, right? And then you had spoken language, and then you had written language. So that's how technology of language itself evolved. And language is the first technology of anything and everything under planet Earth. Language is the first technology. Now, until printing press was invented, there was only one copy of every book out there in the world, right? People used to basically write the books and it was in libraries, and only the elite people had access to books. Today, we have information all around the web, and anyone and everyone can have access to information. But when it came to like the history, we had to wait until almost like 16th or 17th century until we, got this thing called printing press, which was invented by Gutenberg. And the printing press was a technology to basically replicate the content. And then we had newspapers, then we had more books printed, and then came radio, which is audio only, and then came TV, and then we had like magazines as well, which is just print. So without content, there is no attention, right? Which is the source of all attention, of human attention, we can say. Here you are paying attention to me. Why are you paying attention to me? Because I am giving you something of value. I am talking about this whole concept of deep marketing, and you are paying attention to me. And that is why, you know, you guys are here. So without content, there is going to be no attention. And when we had the old forms of content, right? Old forms of content. What are the forms of content that we had? We had TV, radio, newspapers, magazines. So this was the old form of content. And whenever advertisers or marketers wanted to get the attention of potential buyers, potential prospects, they had only one option, which is to advertise in the middle of content. So you are not going to read a newspaper to look at the ads. You are not going to open up TV to watch the ads, right? You are opening it for the content that you are getting. And within the content, some advertising is slipped in so that you pay attention to the ads as well. But one of the biggest problems with the traditional media is that you cannot deliver valuable content, long form content to get people's attention and build trust with your brand. All the advertisers, product sellers, they did not have a channel to broadcast information by themselves. They only had an option to advertise on newspapers like print ads. They had an option to advertise on radio like audio ads. They had an option to advertise 30 seconds, 1 minute on TV. So, in that, there was no possibility to give content itself. And when you had these technologies, the publishing companies were separate, the product companies were separate. Why? Because publishing was a complex business. Imagine running a newspaper company. You need to have printing press, you need to have funding, you need to have government permissions, you need to have distribution, and you need a lot of money just to run a newspaper. So newspaper companies are separate. Imagine running a TV channel. You need to have access to a satellite, you need to have cable networks and so many things. Magazine also you need to print. If imagine you wanted to launch a radio, you had to get permission from the spectrum bandwidth, AM, FM, or whatever. So the publishing companies were separate, and then the product companies were separate. But the internet changed the game, right? So in the digital era, everyone is a publisher. And now you don't need to go and advertise on somebody else's channel to get attention to you. You can go ahead and become your own publisher, because see, right now, what I am doing would not be possible 20 years back. I cannot go and do a 1 hour webinar on a TV, right? Nobody will give me 1 hour of slot. And how will I monetize it? Because TV may you have millions and millions of viewers, and a lot of people might not be interested in deep marketing framework. But here we have around 100 people from my email list watching this webinar, listening to me, and I'm able to give a small niche community my own content, but I'm able to give long form content. I'm talking on video, and I will be talking for an entire 1 hour if I have to. And you guys are paying attention to me. So everyone can become a publisher. And what are the different forms of new forms of content? What are the new forms of content? You can put it on the chat box. Let's get some interaction going here. So NCATT+OST, I will explain. So you have, let's say, Instagram, right? Social media platform. So we can say social media platforms. We have video platforms. That is also social media only, I would say. So inside social media platforms, you have YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. WhatsApp is a messaging service, but I can still call it social media because you have WhatsApp groups and everything. Then you have content platforms for written content. So you have newsletters, you have blogs, you have communities or forums. I will call it forums, where you have forums like Quora and all these different things. You can have email copies. I will just call it emails. You have written content, and then you have, let's say, live webinars, right? Which is what I am doing right now. And here I can also add Reddit, right? Quora also I can add. So these are social media platforms where we can publish content, and these are individual platforms where we can publish content. Live webinars also comes under community and email marketing, because without sending an email, you guys would not be here. But since it's a different format, I will still put it separately. So these are the new forms of content. And new forms of content, what is the nature of this content is that it's permissionless. You don't need permission to publish this content. Old forms of content needed permission from somebody, like license Raj. You needed permission from somebody for going ahead and publishing content. So you can also have content which are gated content, right? In fact, I will just put it on this only. This is also permissionless new form of content. So what do I mean when I say gated content? Gated content means that you need to opt in, you need to subscribe, you need to sign up. Without signing up, you will not be able to access that content. So in fact, forums will come here, because in most of the forums you have to sign up. And I'm not talking about social media here. It's like your own social media, right? So you have forums, you have lead magnets. So all of these are lead magnets, ebooks, video courses. So all these things are part of gated content, which will help you generate leads so that you can bring people into your community and kind of have your own platform. Within your community, you can then go ahead and build trust, right? But if you just put the content out there, so another gated content type is like tools, templates, calculators, all that. So email newsletters can also be counted as gated content only. That's correct, Deeti Jain. That's a good point. Newsletters will also come here then. So written content is basically blogs and guest posts. Anything that is SEO indexed where people can access it directly. So you get the idea. We can keep putting like guides, this, that, and so many other things, but you get the overall idea that, without gated content, we are not going to be able to bring people into our community, because if people are coming from SEO, they will just read your blog and then go away. So you need to try to get people to opt in. So once they opt in, so actually, another thing that we have to do is that we have to drive attention to it. So how do we drive attention? We can drive attention using paid advertising, right? So what are the paid advertising methods? Mostly it's FB ads and Google ads. So these are the important methods. And then you have organic methods. Let's just call it organic. And in organic, we have SEO and we have social media. We can also, and then you have referral traffic. So with referral traffic, you can have affiliates, right? So why am I putting attention separately? Because if you just post this content, if you just create a gated type of content, then it's not going to necessarily get traffic by its own. That is why we call it content marketing. You have to market the content that you have created, right? So how are we going to market the content? We have to drive attention to the content. We can't just publish the content and leave it out there and expect it to perform by itself. We have to drive attention to the content. So that's why we do paid advertising. So what is the example of a paid advertising campaign that I have been running for a long time? LearnDigitalMarketing.com, right? So if you go to LearnDigitalMarketing.com, most of the traffic that I have driven in my career using Google Ads and Facebook Ads has always come to this page, LearnDigitalMarketing.com, where people enter their name, email ID, phone number, and then you guys come into my world. You probably entered my funnel through my um, LearnDigitalMarketing.com page. And how did I drive traffic to it? By using Facebook ads and Google ads. But this is only possible if you have this entire deep marketing funnel, right? You can be like a YouTube celebrity. There are a lot of YouTube celebrities that you might have come across, people who keep doing podcasts, gets millions of subscribers, millions of views, but they can't run paid advertising. They might have some sponsorship that is coming to them, but they don't run paid advertising campaigns because they don't have a funnel, they don't have sales, and because of that they are not able to make money, and because of that they are not able to invest back into advertising. So there is sometimes no point in continuously posting organic content over and over again, because over a period of time you will also hit a flat line and you cannot grow from there. And you have to post very generic content, like interview politicians, interview cricket sports stars, interview Bollywood actresses to get traffic. So how many of you know what I'm talking about, right? So you might have seen plenty of such YouTubers who keep on posting generic content. They get a lot of traffic. They might earn something from sponsorships, but they are like a TV channel, right? They can they can only earn money when somebody advertises in their channel or sponsors their channel, and that cannot become a really a good way to make money sustainably over a period of time, because the growth is not under your control. And that's one of the reasons that I have not taken podcasting so seriously, because it becomes a tiring job to keep on posting content and just expect the organic traffic to grow by itself, right? How will you monetize it? That's the problem. So that is why we have the attention system. Then we have trust, right? So here we are choosing a niche where there is money to be made. And there are three major niches. If I have to go back to niche, four major niches, right? Especially when it comes to the kind of startups that we are talking about. So health, wealth, relationships, and art. Especially if you are going ahead and trying to get into the personal branding space, coaching space. These are the four major niches that you have to choose from. Yes, you need to subdivide it and go into a narrow niche within that. But whatever niche you choose, it will fall into one of these four categories. So now we are already choosing a niche. We are not choosing a very broad niche like comedy, entertainment. Like, we have humor channels where people make jokes. It has millions of views, millions of subscribers, but paisa kaise banayenge? By making people laugh. People are not going to pay for that so much unless you are a stand-up comedian, right? And probably most of us here are not stand-up comedians. So when you have trust factor, why do we need trust factor? So we are choosing a niche where we are posting content, we are spending money to drive attention. And even in organic methods here, you have to spend money, right? You have to post a lot of content to get the SEO right. You might have to go and have a social media manager, or put your time and effort into posting on social media to get organic reach. So how can we drive attention, and why do we drive attention? So that we can build trust with our audience. So how do we build trust? So trust is coming with frequency. So many of you here, this is probably not the first webinar that you are attending. Many of you here probably did not get email from me once and then came to this webinar. You have been getting it for a while. So frequency builds trust, value delivery builds trust, reciprocation kicks in, right? I give something of value, then you feel like you have got some value, you feel like reciprocating it. How is trust built? So this is the how, right? Frequency and value delivery. Why we do it is that we want to create the reciprocation, and the actual methods of trust building involve, let's say, email marketing, communities, and events. When it comes to events, it can be an online event like a webinar, which we are doing right now, and it can be an offline event also. So when you are doing an offline event, let's say you are doing something like a classroom, and in this particular classroom or a conference or a meetup, people are coming together to meet you in person. You take photos, put it back on social media, your overall trust factor goes up. when you are doing all this. So here we have these methods of trust building, and why do we need to build trust? So I will give you a relatable example which a lot of people relate to. Let's say you want to marry a girl. Let's say you are a boy, and as a boy, if you want to go ahead and marry a girl, then will the girl say yes to marriage the first time you ask her to marry you? Obviously she will say no, because the trust is not built and she cannot take a big step like that. And when we try to go into the dating scene, so my first marriage was an arranged marriage, my second marriage was a love marriage. So thinking about my second marriage, first I met her in a conference, then I started a conversation with her, then I got her phone number, then we communicated on the phone for a while, then we had a few dates, and then almost after 2 years of dating, meeting, talking, fighting, breaking up, all that, then finally marriage proposal happens. She says yes, and then I marry her. So similarly, when you think about going ahead and trying to sell something to a customer, you cannot go ahead and say that, hey, customer, go buy this. He is not going to buy it. She's not going to buy it. You need to build a relationship with the customer. And there is no way to build a relationship with the customer if you don't even get their contact information in the first place. And that is why gated content is very important. You first go ahead and get them inside your funnel so that you have the capability to contact them over and over again. So just like I send an email to the email list to invite you for this webinar, if I did not collect your name, email ID, phone number, then I will not be able to mail you to come to this webinar again. And you will not give away your email ID just by reading a blog post, right? I have to give you a free course or a free ebook or a free tool. And you can see that everything connects with each other. So once I do that, and once I have put a lot of effort in delivering value via email, ebooks, content, free courses, webinars, then the trust is building, right? Once the trust is built, and trust also takes time, right? It takes time to build trust, just like in the dating market. You cannot escalate it very fast, right? Within a few days, you cannot ask for anybody to marry, whether it's a girl or a boy. So, can you tell me in the chat box, for how long have you been following me? Let's see, around 100 people are here in this webinar. Uh, and I will give the PDF of this entire mind map in this webinar itself so that you can download it. Nothing to worry. So just put how long you have been following me. So some people are saying 4 years, some people are saying 3 months, some people have been following me. Ravichandran has been following me for 3 months. One person is saying 4 years. 2019 says somebody is following me for 5 years. So some people 6 years as well. Ravi Shankar has been following me for 6 years. Satish Kumar 10 years. Wow. Jayant Petra is following me since 2018, 6 years. So you see, the reason why these people are attending the webinar is that they have been gaining value from me consistently, and they would like to go ahead and gain more value from me, because the first time they interacted with me online, read my content, I gave a good return on investment for the amount of effort they put in reading my content. And that is how the trust is built. So once the trust is built, you cannot leave it here, right? You need to do a transaction. So that is the second thing. You can do a transaction. So how do you enable transaction? You can do copywriting, right? Like for example, we have a sales page copy for our Facebook Ads Mastery course. And let me go ahead and share that page. So we have a sales page copy for Facebook Ads Mastery course. And sometimes we get sales for our Facebook Ads Mastery course directly from this sales page. So without writing a sales copy, you cannot have a sale come in, because you need to do persuasion, you need to do influence. Without persuasion and influence, building trust alone is not going to give you transaction. So building trust alone is like building a relationship with a girl, but unless you propose, she is waiting for proposal. She's not going to ask you when are you going to marry her. She's waiting for a proposal. So similarly, your customers are not going to give you money just because you are providing a lot of value to them and building trust. You have to go and influence them. So the channels or the method The methods might be copywriting. It can be one-to-one sales calls, right? When we are selling a high ticket program, we do one-to-one sales calls. It can be copywriting on a sales page, or it can be via e-commerce as well, right? So if the product value is not very high, you can just have a listing like Amazon May is just a listing. They don't have much of a copy. I wouldn't say copywriting. Yes, they have some description, but it's not a well-written copy. So e-commerce, copywriting, one-to-one sales are the methods or the channels through which the transaction happens. And you need to persuade the leads to transact with you. You need to influence them, and it's for their own good. If they buy your product, they will get the results that they are looking for. So you need to enable the transaction. A lot of people are very weak in transaction, right? Especially the people who are just podcasting all the time, just posting their entire podcast, like 2 times a week, 3 times a week, constantly posting something on YouTube but not doing anything else. They get a lot of traffic, lot of likes, lot of comments, but they don't have the lead information. They don't do trust building a lot. It's like, these people, they are famous, but you don't trust them that much. Look, like, being famous and being trustworthy are two different things. Like, for example, our politicians are famous. You keep seeing their faces in different places, like roads, may petrol bunks, may railway station, may you keep seeing their faces. But do you trust your politicians? No. So just being famous is not enough to build trust. Trust comes from value delivery. Trust comes from conversations. Trust comes from frequency. And once that trust is built, only then people will transact with you. Without trust, nobody is going to transact with you. And now that we are able to do a transaction, like for example, tomorrow if I launch a book called Deep Marketing Book, and then if I launch a course called Deep Marketing Blueprint, will you guys buy it? Let me know in the chat box. Let's say the book is 500 rupees and the course is going to come along with the book. Will you go ahead and buy it from me? Why? Because you trust me. And where does the trust comes from? It comes from frequency. It comes from value delivery, right? So I am writing the book. I'm still finishing up the deep marketing book. And once the deep marketing book is finished, I'm planning to launch a book along with a course bundled with it. So every person who buys the book will also get a video course of that. So that is something I'm planning as a way to expand my influence. So now once a transaction is done, some revenue is coming in. The revenue and the profit can be reinvested back into creating more content and driving more attention to the content, building more trust with the people who have come into the funnel, and then you can do even more transaction. And now this becomes a loop. You can keep doing this over and over again. But at the same time, you also have to realize that just doing this over and over again is not going to help. There are companies who did the marketing very well. They probably did this very well. They did the sales well. They did the lead generation well. They built some amount of trust by having brand ambassadors and trying to, get them to, like, pass on the trust to you. But at the same time, you also need OST. What does OST stand for? O stands for onboarding, because once you sell something, you need to onboard the customer. You need to tell the customer that, hey, thanks for the purchase. You have placed your trust in us. It is the right decision. Don't worry about it. And this is how we are going to deliver value to you. So you need to onboard the customer, right? So what does onboarding involve? It could involve a welcome email. It could involve a call. It could involve a video. It could involve a welcome kit, right? So all these things can be included in the onboarding part. And then once you onboard them, you need to service them. So S is for service, right? It's not just that you set the expectations right, onboard them. So imagine you join a gym. When you join a gym in January, because January is when most people join a gym because of New Year resolution, the person who is there in the gym gives you a tour of the gym. Hey, this is where you get the shower. This is where you get these equipments. This is where you get help. This is where you do the entry. This is where you do the exit. So there is an expectation that is set right. Sundays we are closed. So all that onboarding process mein aa jata hai, and it's a very important part of the entire funnel that happens after the transaction. Then you have to provide the service. So imagine the gym may, you have a treadmill, you have different equipments. If the treadmill stops working, they have to service it. And whether it's a product or a service, whatever it might be, it has to be delivered, right? So I am putting both products and services in the same category because a product also does a service for you, but it automates the service delivery for you. If you go to a restaurant, they give you a service. It's not a product, but if you buy a device, then it's a product, but there is a service component within the product as well. So S is for service, you deliver the service, and T is for transformation. So let's say you joined a gym, they onboarded you, they explained everything, they welcomed you, they're offering the service, they have the equipment, you can go and access the equipment whenever you want. But what if you are not showing up to the gym? What if you are not seeing results? Then somebody from the gym calls you and tells you, hey, go ahead and use the services that we are giving, right? So that is why you need to not just provide the service, but make sure that people use the service. Make sure the service is used. Make sure that the service is helping people to get results, right? Put an account manager. If it is a online service that you are giving, if it is an online coaching service that you are giving, you need an account manager to call them up and ask them, hey, are you using the service? Are you happy with the service? Are you getting the results? If not getting the results, why? And without actually caring that your customers are transforming, you will not be able to really go ahead and do the next thing in the entire funnel, which is reputation. So R is for reputation. So if you do the onboarding, servicing, and transformation very well, it will lead to reputation. And there are companies in India who did very good marketing, who were in a good niche. They did content, advertising, and everything. They generated leads. They built trust using whatever methods. They did very good sales, but they forgot that there is something called a product. They did not create a good product. They did not create a good onboarding experience. They did not provide a good service. And when you do not do all this properly, your reputation gets affected. And once the reputation gets affected, no matter how much value you try to give using free methods like content and everything, the trust won't be built, because reputation means that somebody else is coming and saying that, hey, don't buy this product, don't buy product from this company. This is very bad, right? I had bought that product and I wasted my money. So once the reputation is spoiled, the entire CATT funnel breaks. But if you build a very strong reputation, the entire CATT funnels becomes very fast. Like for example, let's say internship program. A lot of people here are interns. If you're an intern, just type intern in the chat box. So you might have joined because somebody recommended you to join the internship program, right? How many are interns? Let me know in the chat box. Let's see. Rhythm Bharadwaj from batch 1. Awesome. Who else is an intern here? Nobody else. Come on, guys. I know there are a lot of interns here. Yeah, batch 25. Binay Kedia is an intern. Ravi from batch 2. See, batch 13. So, so when you go ahead and build a strong reputation, people need not go through your content and build trust with you over a long period of time to trust you enough to transact with you. Reputation can directly feed transaction through referrals. So if I have to put a connection here, I will put it here, right? So the reputation speeds up the trust building process and directly enables transaction. And this completes the entire deep marketing framework. Once you build reputation, so how can reputation be built? Word of mouth referrals, testimonials from existing customers, then let's say reviews and ratings through that. So today I gave my car for water wash, and I found out that there is a new water wash company that has opened nearby within 1 kilometer from my house. And how did I went and transact with them directly? They did not do any content marketing or attention building or trust building with me, because I saw that they had all 5-star reviews. So they had such a good reputation that I just went ahead and directly transacted with them. And I paid a few thousand rupees to get interior cleaning, exterior cleaning, everything done. Why? So how are they able to do the transaction with me? Because they built the reputation. And reputation is something that once you spoil it, it's spoiled forever. You cannot bring it back. It's very difficult to bring it back. Here and there, if you have a small screw up, it's fine. But if you screw up your reputation in a major way, then people don't trust you. And you cannot build trust using content. And even if you provide value, they won't trust you because reputation has been spoiled. Because this is something that other people are telling. So people will think twice before somebody says, like, before buying something. And if somebody says that, hey, don't buy this product, then people won't buy. A good customer will only refer one more good customer, but a bad customer will prevent 10 other people from buying from you, true or not? So that is why reputation is so important. So now what I will do is that I will expand this entire mind map, export it as PDF, and give you the download link. So that's about it, guys. That's pretty much today's presentation. And how many of you found today's presentation valuable? Just type V in the chat box. You found today's presentation valuable? Awesome. So I will just upload this PDF mind map into my Google Drive. And give you a public sharing link. All right. So I have shared the expand events to not expand events. Events ke andar it's just offline events, online events, nothing else. So yeah, guys. So if you are able to download the PDF, let me know if you are able to download it. Just type D in the chat box if you have downloaded it or it's done. Awesome. So now you can use this as a, solid reference point for your, business, freelancing, employment. And do you think this is going to help you? So one person is asking, is the internship program still running? I will be launching a new batch in April. Awesome. So whoever wants to be an intern, wait for my announcement in April. New financial year, we are starting a new batch of internship program. And that's about it, guys, for today. So I don't have enough time to take Q&A sessions today. So I will go ahead and wind up the session today, but we will definitely do one more webinar like this, one open AMA session, and then we will be able to interact more. Next time when I want to do an interaction or an AMA session, I will do a meeting instead of a webinar so that I can see your faces as well. Right? So what was the one big insight that you got from today's webinar? You can let me know in the chat box. What was that one big insight? So Mandar has taken notes. Okay. Using an AI tool. Fine. Come on, guys. Don't be so dependent on AI. Go ahead and take a pen and paper and write stuff. So Rhythm Bharadwaj got clarity. Jayendra, the biggest takeaway was OST. I think CATT is something that I have spoken about a lot, but not so much about OST. High level understanding of the entire customer life cycle. That's what Anand is saying. Niche is the only way to be the top in your industry. The roadmap. All right. So thanks a lot, guys. So on a scale of 1 to 10, How much did you like today's webinar? Just put a number between 1 and 10. Rafio is saying 10, 9, 8, 9, 10. Not bad. So glad to know that you guys liked the webinar, which motivates me to do more webinars like this. So I will be publishing a recording of this on YouTube, and I will put the download link of this particular PDF file as well. So that's it. Thanks a lot for attending on a Tuesday, 9 p.m. And I will see you in one more webinar like this. Stay tuned for my emails. And I have recently also started blogging on a new blog or a new newsletter which I have set up. It is on Substack, and I've been liking Substack the way they have built it. So digital Deepak blog.substack.com is where I am blogging right now. It's on a subdomain right now, but obviously I will be configuring a new domain, and I will also leave the URL here. So if you have not subscribed to this particular channel yet, go ahead and subscribe. Substack is like a publishing platform like Medium. So I've been just been experimenting with this new platform. You guys can also create your own blog on Substack, and email newsletters also get included in Substack. So that's it, guys. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And if you are watching this video on YouTube, go ahead and leave a comment below with your thoughts. Bye bye and good night. So thank you, Bhupender. Thank you, Deepti Jain. Good night, Rhythm. Good night, Jayendra. Good night, everyone.